What have been some difficulties associated with covering the Trump administration, in particular with Trump immediately tweeting out most of his thoughts and information?
Well, I think the fact that so much information is constantly coming out, and it's sort of moment by moment, headline to headline, all of us in the media certainly are trying to keep up in some ways. I think one of the things that is a challenge about that is it doesn't allow you to really have a full conversation to talk through policy issues. It's reactive. It's not necessarily encouraging conversation in this country. I think also just the phenomenon of social media and people wanting to have their hot take feeds into some of the partisanship. It doesn't necessarily allow for a full conversation there either. And look, I'm obviously speaking my own book here, but I don't think tweets allow for nuance, for all the gray that's often around some of the very important decisions that need to be made and fully fleshed out, particularly on the national security front or in policymaking domestically. So those things I think are challenging for all of us as a country to really participate in an educated, full way. In terms of the Trump administration, they have continued to participate in conversations, allowed a lot of on-camera access of officials. So I would give them a lot of credit for that. I do think, though, having more national conversation, explanation of things is a better way of helping most Americans get involved in the political system.
And then our next question was regarding, the emergence of a single supported Democratic candidate. Could we just get your thoughts on that?
Well, we're strapped in. We've got 24 candidates. It's going to be a long race. It's going to come down to a lot of the fundraising that's going to be possible in order to sustain such a long race. You're already seeing some difficulty among some candidates in terms of being able to fundraise enough to get on that debate stage, the 65,000 donations or so. So we may start to see some of that shrinking, but some of the big donors may come off the sidelines. We'll see. Some of them were burned in 2016 and want to kind of reserve some cash maybe for when it's more clear who the nominee will be. But we will see. I think the Democratic Party is trying to figure out what it means to be a Democrat in this year. You're seeing that argument within the party in a way that we have seen in the past, an argument among Republicans over, does it mean being a Trump Republican or does it mean being more of a Reagan Republican? And the president sort of answered that question by successfully taking over the party. And so we'll see who wins that argument on the Democratic side. And we're seeing that play out right now in terms of the push among some to be more progressive, or as Speaker Pelosi has encouraged her caucus and maybe some of the candidates as well, to stay more mainstream, to not go for some of those platforms that may be popular but may not ultimately help swing over some votes who perhaps voted Republican in the last presidential election.